Hi, this is Bruce from Fedhouse Productions. Today we're going to be doing a full disassembly of a DV6000. I'm going to try to run this through as thoroughly as possible. So what you're going to need today for tools is either a number 1 or a number 0 Phillips head screwdriver. You're also going to need a 3/16 socket. Something else is a nice little screw caddy. I had an old Kodak film box laying around, so that works really well. Now, what we're going to want to do first is flip your machine over so that the battery's facing away from you. And first thing you're going to want to do is eject the battery. And it's just a little slide thing right here. It'll kind of lift itself up and you can do the rest. Now, we're going to want to remove our back panels. And those are just 2 screws a piece. The first one will be for the memory and the Wi-Fi card, and the second is for the hard drive. We're just going to try to get all the screws exposed here so we can do all of them at once. Alright, now that you got those 2 off, you can take the hard drive caddy. There should be a little plastic tip. Just lift it straight up and out. There should be a hard drive in there, but there isn't right now. Alright, next thing we're going to want to do is right in the center of your machine, there's a little screw with looks like a CD symbol next to it. We'll take the screw out of there and then take out your optical drive. You can pretty much just put a thumbnail right in there and it should come right out. Alright, now, just to get it out of the way, our 3/16 socket, there's 2 screws right next to the Wi-Fi card down here. 2 little nuts that we're just going to take out, put right in the screw caddy. And then that's all you're going to need this for until you reassemble. Alright, now, let's start in the upper left corner and remove the 2 black screws that are up here. Then we can remove the 3 silver screws that are underneath the battery. And we got 2 slightly smaller black screws above the battery housing, and we have 2 normal size black screws that hold the keyboard on inside of the battery housing. It's a little difficult because I can't see what I'm doing. Alright, and if they don't come out, that's fine. Sometimes they get stuck in the casing a little bit. Alright, now we're going to move on to the upper right corner, which are just 2 normal sized black screws. Then we can move down the side, which are also 2 normal sized black screws. We have 1 black screw in the corner, 1 black screw underneath the hard drive, and then continue right across. All of these screws should be the same size. Black screw, usually with a red stripe on it, on the threading. Alright, now that all of those are out, we can go into the middle of the casing, where there's your Wi-Fi antennas. Now be very careful with these because they are a delicate connection onto the Wi-Fi card. So what you're going to want to do is just hold them up. You can take your screw and just lift them straight out. Get them out of their little brackets and just let them sit there for a minute. And now following those up, there's another screw right in the center next to the memory with a little keyboard symbol next to it. And the last screws we'll take out are the ones that were under the optical drive, which are commonly missed when you normally take this apart, kind of hidden underneath the optical drive. Alright, so now that we got all of these taken out, I'm going to flip it over, still keeping the battery away from you so it's easier to open the LCD. Go ahead and open up the LCD, and we're going to want to take off the quick play panel first. Now what you're going to want to do is put a fingernail underneath the right hand side and the left hand side and just kind of wiggle it up a little bit so it comes up, but don't put too much force behind it, because there's a microphone cable that needs to come off before anything else can happen. Now just set that off to the side, still connected by the ZIF cables, and take your keyboard about a 45-degree angle and lift it towards your LCD screen. Again, very gently, because we have a ribbon cable connected towards the touchpad. And you're going to want to lift up these little black slide bars, and your ribbon cable should come right out. Now that we got that free, we'll wiggle these ZIF cables out from their brackets and just pull them towards the base, and they should pop right out. Be very careful with the ZIF cables, because they're a very delicate connection. Alright, now we're going to take off the touchpad ZIF cable, which is down towards the touchpad. It's just this little black guy right here. And just let that hang free. And we can also take up the Wi-Fi antennas that we had loose from before. We'll bring those all the way back to the LCD and just let them sit. And now the next one, all the way in the upper left, is our LCD. It should have a little black pull tab. Just pull it straight up and let it hang free. Now we're going to take the LCD off, which is just 2 black screws. It'll be a black and a silver screw, but all you need to do is take out the black screw. And I like to start from right to left, because you'll notice that when you're taking out this last screw, the LCD wants to come off its hinges. So you can have a free hand to hold this while you're unscrewing that last screw. Once that's out, this is completely free. Just lift it straight up and set it off to the side. Alright, now we're down to the quick play panel and the back bezel. We'll take the back bezel off first, and it's just 1 screw, 1 black screw up in the upper right hand corner. And now once this is out, we'll take 2 thumbnails and just lift it, rock it backwards, and it should pop right off. Now the next set of screws we're going to do is 2 black screws in the upper left and the upper right hand corner, and 2 silver screws right smack dab in the middle. Alright, good. Now, once these 2 are out, once all 4 of those are out, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a couple of fingernails underneath the silver part of the palm rest, and just kind of lift it straight out. And if all the screws are out, it should come right out. Now this model right here has a fingerprint reader, so don't if it does have a fingerprint reader, again, be very careful when you're taking this out, because it will have another small ZIF cable coming out next to the remote caddy. You're just going to want to take that out and set the palm rest off to the side. Eject our little dust preventer in the remote caddy. And now we're down to the motherboard. The motherboard's easy on this one. It's just going to be 4 screws in the remote caddy, 4 silver screws. They'll be the same size as the 3 silver screws that you took out of the the battery housing earlier. And once you take these out, there'll just be 1 more silver screw with a small triangle next to it in the bottom right hand corner of the motherboard. Now we're just going to take off the remote caddy, and again you can just set that off to the side. And now we're ready to take the motherboard apart. Well, we're take the motherboard off the back. What you're going to want to do is put a finger on the back of the battery housing, lift it up slightly with your thumb. Underneath here there's going to be a couple connectors. There'll be a power connector that's a little white square. There'll be the USB connector, which is a little white rectangle, and then down here will be a for your audio ports. All right, now once this is all together, apart, you can take the back casing and put it off to the side. And now we're down to the motherboard with the heatsink and the chips. Now this one has three screws surrounding the CPU, and then 2 screws on around the south bridge GPU. Once those are out, disconnect your fan, and voila. There is your DV6000 down to the motherboard.